Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. It's Monday. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. Alan Ruff and Barry Ferguson are with me, and as ever with Scottish football, controversy and talking points never too far away. Sporting integrity is something we'll be discussing on the show today. It should be an interesting one for Ruffy and Barry to get their teeth into. So let's concentrate first of all on what happened over the weekend with our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi.
Hibs moved into the top six with a 4-2 win at Dundee on Friday night, and it's been an impressive start for new manager Paul Heckingbottom with 2 wins out of 2. Hearts' Sean Clare scored at the wrong end to earn St Mirren a valuable point at Tynecastle with a 1-1 draw against the Jambos. Chris Erskine scored his first Livingston goal from a trademark long throw to beat Kilmarnock and made it no wins in 7 for Steve Clarke's men. A brace from Aberdeen's captain fantastic Graham Shinney gave Aberdeen a 2-0 win, and they moved 4 points clear over 4th place Killie, whilst it's also no wins in 7 for home side St Johnstone. On Sunday, Rangers didn't seem to miss Alfredo Morelos one bit, as 5 different players, including James Tavernier from the spot as always, got on the score sheet against Hamilton Accies. And Celtic maintained their 8-point lead at the top with a 4-1 win over Motherwell, but the away team's goal will cause much debate after not returning the ball to the Hoops, who had kicked it out for an injured Ryan Christie.
Yeah, so there you have it. That's the results. Here's how the table looks over the course of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic still with that 8-point gap at the top, and Aberdeen tucked in 5 points behind Rangers, and then a further 4 behind Kilmarnock. Hard to believe, no wins in 7, Ruffy.
Yeah, it's a poor one for them. They have had hard games. They've been absolutely blistering right for the start. You know, they're still sitting there in 4th place, and I'm sure if you asked Steve Clarke at the beginning of the season if he thought he was going to be there, he'd be surprised. But no, he'll take it. He'll know his team will come back. There are a few players missing, so you know, I think they've done really well up until now. OK, let's get into the meat and bones of the games. Well, Celtic Park certainly had a bit of controversy, but first and foremost, no surprise when one manager gets the sack down south. Brendan Rodgers never too far away from the betting on this one. He's odds on to be the next Leicester City boss. David Wagner, Michael Appleton, Sean Dyche and Neil Lennon in there. There were suggestions that Neil Lennon could be a caretaker until the summer, until Rodgers arrives. Now, is this the job that finally attracts him back down south, Ruffy? Well, it's the Premiership, you know, that's the only thing that I would think that if Brendan Rodgers has any inkling to go back there, you know, that would be a start for him. I don't think he's done enough in European football at Celtic to command a higher club. I don't think another club higher than that will come in. So maybe he has to go back there and resurrect what he'd done initially. But to me, Celtic's still a bigger club, still a much bigger club domestically and in European football than Leicester City.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point you make. I think Leicester City and Celtic, there's no comparison. Celtic are the bigger club. But for me, an owner with a fair amount of money, they still have huge backing, Leicester City. And I think the level that he's at, I think this could be the one in the summer, Barry, that finally gets Brendan Rodgers to say, OK, if I can secure the title for Celtic, I'm looking back over the fallout of not being able to get the players I wanted. I didn't get the standard of player I wanted for European football. I think he'll look and say, I've done enough.
Yeah, well, look, when the Premier League comes calling, it's no doubt it is the best league in the world. Best managers, best players. It's where every manager and every player wants to play. And the money down there is scary. Certainly Leicester have got the backing of the family there who put a lot of money into it, and if they come calling, I'm with you. I think he's done everything apart from doing really well in Europe. He's won every single thing up here, and I think deep down he'll want to get back down to the Premier League because I think he's got unfinished business.
Yeah, I know Neil Lennon's on every English show that you could possibly think of, Ruffy, so he's clearly touting himself. I think the Leicester job, while I think he could handle it, I don't think they consider he's a big enough name.
No, that would be my answer to you. I don't think he is a big enough name. Unfortunately for Neil, we all know what he can do. We know what he can do with the players at his disposal. But I think once that job gets advertised, there'll be lots of players with more, a bigger name, if you want to put it that way, but more credentials and more of a CV that will attract Leicester City than unfortunately Neil's.
Yeah, OK, to the game itself, Celtic in the end maintained their 8-point advantage, Barry. Now, having watched you as the manager at Kelty at Saturday when you won the game by 6-1, you were a bit miffed that you'd conceded a goal. Wow, I thought the roof was going to cave in at Celtic Park. They conceded a goal. It ended their, clean sheets in 2019. And I think everybody thought it was really unsporting behaviour from young James Scott. What a way to start your career with the crowd baying for blood.
Yeah, it was unsporting, but listen, I'll put it down inexperience for a young lad. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't think he's meant it in a bad way. But once that goal's went in, I think it's up to the Motherwell people, the manager, the coaching staff to say, right, do you know what, we've scored, we've been unsporting there, let Celtic go and take another goal. Or because certainly if that's beating the sidelines or on the pitch, I wouldn't be happy with that. But as I say, I'll put it down to the young lad being inexperienced.
Well, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, well, if he's at fault, Aribi is also at fault for putting the ball in the back of the net as well, Ruffy. We've been talking about it off air. It was such a hot topic. Should the manager, Stephen Robinson, have said, look, we're bang out of order here, let Celtic go up the park?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? There's so much at stake at games now, and I know it's only a goal, but a goal at the end of the day and goal difference could be getting in the top 6, missing out somewhere. We all know that should have happened, but in the actual timing of the game it goes, it's maybe something you're not thinking about. You're still embarrassed about what's happening. It takes a big team to say, right, everybody stand aside and let them go and score. It would have been the right thing to do, but fortunately for everybody, it wasn't a goal that was going to determine who was going to win that game. Yeah,
Kieran Tierney said it was a lack of respect. I don't think too many of the players were too happy with him either. It was one of those ones, if I'd have been guilty of that, Barry, I'd have ran straight up the tunnel and I wouldn't have come back out.
Yeah, I can understand what Kieran Tierney's saying. I would have felt the same. I would have reacted in the same way. It's disappointing, but I keep going back. Listen, it's the young lad. I mean, as I said, he's just broke into the Motherwell team. He's probably not thought about it. It's his, I think it was his first start, the young lad. So he's obviously went and done something that, look, he'll look back at it and regret it. But again, it just comes down to one thing, and that's a lack of experience.
I'm surprised the referee never did something before it actually happened. I mean, the referee could have quite easily blown the whistle to stop anything getting anywhere near the goal.
Yeah, well, I think it's realistically in the under the laws of the game. It's, Celtic want to kick the ball out, they kick the ball out. He was actually at that point, pulling up on the sidelines. And then he came back on. He went off the park, but he came back on, and then he realised he just couldn't play on, and they kicked the ball out, but is there I think, we crave sporting integrity, but sometimes it doesn't quite live up to it in the game, We've got so many other problems. Sporting integrity is somewhere down here at the moment. Anyway, we'll talk about Rangers after the break. Just before that, we go into it. Aberdeen, good win against St Johnstone. Graham Shinnie, I think, is really looking the part, Ruffy, at a time when people are starting to look to possibly sign him. Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing for Derek. I think they're actively in talks with him every week, but he hasn't committed himself. We all know what he does for the team, but I don't think we knew he had 2 goals in him in one game. But certainly, he's always run about the 18-yard box. He's always wanted to have a shot.
So, no, I think Derek will have to push the boat out in that one to keep him to stay.
Yeah, there's a number of clubs down south looking at him, and of course Rangers as well, sniffing around him. Could he be ideal as a wee bit of bite in the middle of the park at Ibrox next season? You can give us your view on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, and of course YouTube as well. We'd love to hear from you on Shinny, possibly in blue. OK, well done to Billy Knapp from Kilmarnock. He was last week's quiz winner. I wonder how these two guys are going to fare with this week's quiz question. Welcome to PLZ Soccer. Why not join the football family and download the PLZ app? You'll get all the latest Scottish football news and up-to-date news on English and world football. There's also a feature here where you can record yourself talking about your favourite team. If we use the video, you could feature on our football show. For all the latest news in Scottish football, download the PLZ Soccer app in the App Store and in Google Play. Come and join the football family on PLZ Soccer. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's football show. Alan Ruff and Barry Ferguson are with me here. We've been discussing Celtic and Aberdeen, now Rangers. It was an emphatic win at the weekend. 5-0. No problems without Morelos there, Barry.
Yep, it was a comfortable afternoon for Rangers. They dominated from start to finish. I know a lot of people are going to say Accies were really poor, but I thought Rangers started the game on the front foot. They were at Accies for the word go, and look, I thought it could have been even more. I thought they took their foot off the gas a wee bit in the second half. I know Hamilton changed formation, but it was an easy day at the office for Rangers. Yeah,
no doubt about the penalty, Ruffy. I thought it was a stone waller. I don't think he any criticism on that front. And you know, Ryan Jack scored a really nice goal. You'd be well happy with that one yourself.
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper was a wee bit unsighted when it came round one of the defenders, but I think if he gets a chance to see it again, you know, I think he maybe should have thought he could get a hand on it. It seemed to skid off that surface and hit the back of the net. But Barry's right. I mean, everybody was wanting a shot, everybody was wanting a goal. You know, they were flying high, and it's the kind of place that some teams go to and struggle just because of the surface. But when you get the goal so early, it was just a confident stroll in the afternoon for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Jermaine Defoe getting in there, that is the confidence that builds, because, of course, as you well know, there's a full card of football in midweek as well, Barry.
Yep, look, it's important that Defoe got a goal, Lafferty coming off the bench, getting a goal as well, because I think Rangers do rely too much on Morelos. There's no doubt about that. He is, as I keep saying most weeks, that he is Rangers' main player. But when he's not there, it's time for other people to step up. And Jermaine Defoe, he wasn't in the game a lot, but listen, you give that guy a sniff at goal, he's going to take the opportunity. Yeah.
Before we look at the half-term report on the finances from Rangers, you said last week, we were talking about sectarianism, that it wouldn't end. I'm looking at the last couple of days and I'm thinking, you know, somewhere along the line, unless the government and the authorities suddenly come out with a package of ideas, plans, the way ahead, there are some fans that just think they're absolutely bomb-proof, and the Rangers fans clearly, with the banner and some of their chanting at New Douglas Park, clearly think they can get away with anything.
Yep, and Stephen Gerrard came out and made a comment after the game that they need to try and stop it. As I says, look, it's not every fan, it's a small minority that it's going to suffer. The rest of the Rangers fans are going to suffer for this small group of people keep coming out with the sectarianism chants and whatever, and it's no nice. Obviously, I heard a bit again yesterday, and it takes away for what was a great performance for Rangers.
Yeah, do you think maybe they'll start to introduce closing certain sections?
I hope they don't, Peter. I honestly hope they don't, because I think that's not fair in the rest of the supporters. Because I think the vast majority of supporters, whether it be at Rangers and Celtic, go to the game to support their team and look forward to them putting on a performance.
Yeah. As far as the finances are concerned, roughly, Rangers 5.2 million profit for the first 6 months of the season. And of course, they've played quite a considerable amount of home games, more than they did last season at this point. The Europa League qualification certainly boosting European football's so crucial to both halves of the Old Firm. And the general feeling among the board is by the time they get to the end of the season and their full year, they should be breaking even or just thereabouts.
Yeah, I think Rangers right at the start of the season said to Steven Gerrard, if you get us into Europe, we'll give you the money, that we're going to earn, to bring in better players, and he's done that. He's fulfilled everything they've asked of him, and he's brought better quality players in. You're right, that Europa, although it doesn't bring the same money as the Champions League, it brings in something, and the gates are full. I mean, every attendance that Rangers have got at home will help the coffers as well. So, yeah, I think it's just having that balancing act, of keeping everything ticking over.
Yeah, Celtic go to Tynecastle in midweek. I can't quite work out Hearts. Hibs, it's good, couple of wins for Paul Heckingbottom, but I'm not quite sure what the natural order is going to be come the end of the season with Hearts and Hibs, because, OK, Hibs have got a couple of wins, but Hearts, draw against St Mirren again. It's almost as if they're just stuttering along.
Yeah, I mean, they had a really good run there, and then we all thought they were short of some big players, and these players have come back in, and it just hasn't worked for them at all. You might have to give the teams that they're playing against a wee bit of credit, because they're stepping up to the plate. But I think Hearts will come good again, but I think we're all waiting on that Hibs-Hearts game coming up.
Yeah, well, are you going to go?
Yeah, well, depends where it is.
Yeah. What do you mean depends where it is?
I'd be more comfortable in the crowd if it was Easter Road than I would be at Tynecastle, put it that way.
OK, there you are. You just can't go to a game. I'm actually looking there and thinking to myself, Hearts against Hibs, it's at Tynecastle, Ruffy. You going?
I watch it on the telly.
OK, there you are. There is a coward if ever I've seen one.
I've never seen anybody getting hit with a pie on the telly.
Yeah. There's time. As far as Livingston are concerned, well, listen, it's a long throw. It's a Chris Erskine goal. That's what they do.
Look, Gary Holt will not be concerned about that. It's about getting the 3 points. They were in a sticky run. People were starting to say if they've been found out the way they play. But listen, Livingston have got a set way of playing. And listen, I don't mind that. See, as long as he gets 3 points at 4:45 on a Saturday, I don't think the players, the supporters, and certainly the manager will be bothered about that, because I know Kelly were missing a few players, but do you know what? It's 3 points to the board. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I can't quite work out. I still think, to be fair to St Mirren, I think they battled well at Tynecastle and were well worthy. They could have had a couple of other goals as well, but they were well worthy of a point. But I'm looking at them and I'm saying to myself, I still think St Mirren are gone. It's between Hamilton and Dundee, and I'm veering towards Dundee. Yeah,
well, when you're at the bottom, points aren't any good. While the other teams that are down there as well are picking up points as well. So I think the crucial games, whenever they come, is obviously St Mirren, Dundee, Hamilton, St Mirren, Dundee. These are the three teams that will be looking at these fixtures, and every 3 points that they pick up will just give them that wee bit of breathing space. If it was St Mirren were to play either the two of them and lose that game, that's 7 points. They have to catch up in 10 games, so that'd be a tall ask. So they really need to start winning.
Yeah, and it's not often I feel great sympathy for Dundee's predicament, because Jim McIntyre's trying to get them out of it. Kenny Miller had 2 goals disallowed on Friday night.
I know, but I honestly believe they have got enough quality to get out at Dundee. I think it's going to come down to Hamilton and St Mirren. Look, Hamilton's my local team. I've got a soft spot for them, but I was really disappointed in them yesterday. I know Brian Rice has come in and he's maybe changing a bit the way they try and play, but they've not got a lot of time left. So I think it's going to come down to St Mirren and Accies at the end of the day.
Yep, OK. As far as the midweek fixtures are concerned, we've got, I think, pick of the bunch, is it? Tynecastle, Ruffy. You don't know what Hearts team are going to turn up, but there's always an edge there. I'm loath to use the word. It's not hatred, but there's a real crackles along that game.
Yeah, and there's always something comes out of it. Hopefully it's football we're talking about and nothing else. But no, Hearts will know that they've done reasonably well at Tynecastle against Celtic, and it's going to be a feisty game.
Yeah, this for me, before it hits the split, you've obviously got the game at Celtic Park between Celtic and Rangers. This one for me could be, the last of the big hurdles. Am I being unkind to the other clubs, Barry?
No, I think you're right, but going to Tynecastle during the week under the floodlights, you can't beat it. What a place to go and play. The atmosphere is always electric. The fans are right on top of you. That's the games you want to play in as a player. And I think that will be Celtic's toughest one.
Yeah, okay. We're just going to finish with something that I don't think we've quite witnessed before in football, certainly in the Carabao Cup. A keeper that looked as if he was injured. The manager's trying to get him off. The keeper says he's not coming off. And in the end, they lose the penalty shootout to Manchester City. Here's what Sarri, the Chelsea boss, made of it all.
It was a big misunderstanding because by phone I understood that he had a cramp. And so I didn't want the goalkeeper go to the penalties in that physical condition. I realized that the situation only after 3-4 minutes when the doctor arrived again to the bench. And in the meantime, I wanted Caballero on the pitch, and the goalkeeper wanted only to let me know that he was in condition to go to the penalties. So it was only a big misunderstanding. Kepa was right, but in the wrong way, I think.
I can hear the clock ticking on, Sarri. Can you, Barry? I've never witnessed anything like it, just briefly.
Yeah, but it was a strange one. If that's me, and if he's not doing as he's told, I'm going down that touchline. If he's still not doing as he's told, I'm on the pitch.
You're dragging him off.
And bringing him off. I just thought it was a bit disrespectful for the
Crazy.
player.
City for a quadruple?
No.
No. Okay then, that's because Barry and myself have picked Juventus to win the Champions League. Thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Barry, thanks to you for watching. Good night.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.